Tensions between Canada and the United States have escalated sharply following President Donald Trump's provocative remarks, challenging Canadian sovereignty and economic policies. In a series of statements, Trump has suggested annexing Canada as the 51st US state, a notion that has been met with strong opposition from Canadian leaders and citizens. In the lead-up to the highly anticipated Four Nations Face-Off Hockey Championship between the United States and Canada, President Donald Trump intensified political tensions with a series of provocative remarks and direct interactions with Team USA. On the morning of the championship game, President Trump announced his intention to call the US hockey team to motivate them before their match against Canada. He posted on Truth Social, "I'll be calling our great American hockey team this morning to spur them on toward victory tonight against Canada, which, with far lower taxes and much stronger security, will someday, maybe soon, become our cherished and very important 51st state." The situation escalated when White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt reiterated the administration's stance ahead of the highly anticipated hockey match between the two nations. Leavitt stated, "President Trump is committed to the vision of integrating Canada into the United States for economic and security benefits." This assertion came just before the US and Canadian teams faced off in the Four Nations Face-Off final. The championship game, held at Boston's TD Garden, became a focal point of national pride and political expression. Canadian singer Chantal Kreviazuk altered the lyrics of "O Canada" during the opening ceremony, singing "Only Us Command" instead of the traditional "In All of Us Command," as a direct rebuke to Trump's annexation comments. The match concluded dramatically with Canada securing a 3-2 victory over the United States. The win was celebrated passionately by Canadian fans and players, serving as a symbolic reaffirmation of Canada's sovereignty amidst the political tensions. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has been at the forefront of rejecting President Trump's annexation proposals. Following Canada's victory over the US in the Four Nations Face-Off Hockey Championship, Trudeau declared, "You can't take our country, and you can't take our game." This statement underscored Canada's determination to maintain its sovereignty in the face of external pressures. Since December 2024, former US President Donald Trump has been making increasingly bold and controversial statements suggesting that Canada should become the 51st state of the United States. These remarks, delivered through speeches, social media posts, and official statements, have sparked political tension between the two nations and have been firmly rejected by Canadian leaders. However, they have also fueled a wave of patriotism among Canadians, reaffirming their commitment to sovereignty. Trump's rhetoric on the issue began in early December when he first floated the idea during a private meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at Mar-a-Lago. In a move that raised eyebrows, Trump jokingly referred to Trudeau as Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada, a comment that many interpreted as an indication of his interest in incorporating Canada into the USA a few weeks later. On December 18th, Trump took to his social media platform Truth Social to post a message that fanned the flames of speculation. He wrote, "A lot of great people in Canada are telling me they'd love to be part of America. They're tired of the high taxes, the socialist government, and the terrible energy policies. If they joined the US, they'd finally have freedom, and prosperity would be a win-win." 51st state. Make Canada great again. By January, Trump had escalated his remarks from offhand comments to a more structured narrative. During a press conference at Mar-a-Lago on January 7th, he addressed the issue directly, stating, "Look, we love Canada, and Canada loves us. But right now, they're paying way too much in taxes, their healthcare is failing, and they need strong leadership. We're not talking about military force, nobody wants that. But economic force, absolutely. We have incredible leverage." On January 20th, during his highly anticipated inaugural address for his second term, Trump further hinted at his expansionist vision for the US, stating, "This will be a term of greatness, a term of strength, and a term of expansion. We will make America bigger, stronger, and safer." While he did not mention Canada explicitly, The remark was widely interpreted as an extension of his previous statements. By February, Trump's campaign for annexation had transformed from social media musings into a full-scale political provocation. On February 1st, he signed an executive order imposing a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods, citing concerns over illegal immigration, the opioid crisis, and what he called Pennsylvania, he declared. Why should we keep subsidizing Canada? They need us more than we need them. These tariffs will stay until we get a fair deal, or maybe until we get something even better. The move was met with sharp criticism from Canadian officials. Prime Minister Trudeau immediately denounced the tariffs, calling them an unacceptable act of economic aggression and warning that Canada would respond in kind. Amid growing tensions, Trump appeared to soften his stance on February 3rd after a direct conversation with Trudeau. The two leaders reportedly discussed the tariffs and their impact on trade, and Trump later announced that he was postponing the tariffs for 30 days. However, in a speech that same evening, he doubled down on his annexation remarks, saying, "Canada has a choice. They can keep fighting us, or they can join us. If they become the 51st state, there will be no tariffs, no trade issues, and no more nonsense. It would be a beautiful thing, folks." The issue took an unexpected turn on February 9th, when Trump was interviewed by Fox News just before the Super Bowl. When asked whether he was serious about making Canada part of the United States, he responded, "I'm absolutely serious. It makes perfect sense. Canada is basically America, just colder. The people love me there. We could work out a great deal for them, believe me." The controversy reached a new level on February 20th during the Four Nations Face-Off Hockey Championship between Canada and the United States. Just hours before the highly anticipated final game, Trump posted another message on Truth Social that reignited the debate. He wrote, "I'll be calling our great American hockey team this morning to spur them on towards victory tonight against Canada, which will someday, maybe soon, become our cherished and very important 51st state." Following Canada's thrilling 3-2 overtime victory against the United States in the Four Nations Face-Off Hockey Championship on February 20th, 2025, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau took to social media to assert Canada's sovereignty and pride. In a pointed message on X, formerly Twitter, he declared, "You can't take our country, and you can't take our game." This comment triggered an immediate and furious reaction from Canadian leaders and sports fans alike. During the game's opening ceremony, Canadian singer Chantal Kreviazuk made a pointed protest by slightly altering the lyrics of "O Canada" to emphasize Canadian sovereignty. Instead of singing "In All of Us Command," she changed the words to "That Only Us Command," a subtle but deliberate rejection of Trump's annexation rhetoric. In response to Trump's repeated comments, Prime Minister Trudeau addressed the nation, firmly rejecting the idea of annexation. "Let me be crystal clear. Canada is not for sale. We are not a state. We are a country, proud, free, and independent. No one will take that from us." Even opposition leaders, including Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre, who has been critical of Trudeau's leadership, took a strong stand against Trump's rhetoric. Poilievre stated, "Canada is a sovereign nation. My message to President Trump is simple. We are not the 51st state, and we never will be." Speaking in Brussels after meetings with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, Defense Minister Bill Blair addressed President Trump's annexation remarks. Blair described the comments as offensive and disrespectful, but expressed confidence in Canada's security posture. He stated, "I do not believe that represents a real threat to us." Blair emphasized Canada's preparedness to defend its sovereignty, noting, "We've assured all of our allies that we're prepared to stand up for our country." He also highlighted the importance of unity and readiness in the face of such aggression, underscoring Canada's commitment to its national defence and alliances. Member of Parliament Charlie Angus offered a candid response to President Trump's suggestion of annexation. In an interview with CNN, Angus criticised Trump's characterization of Canada, stating, "I think the issue is that Donald Trump is claiming Canada is a narco state. The man's a liar. Angus dismissed the notion of Canada becoming a US state, emphasizing the country's sovereignty and democratic values. He remarked, "Canada has something called democracy. It means the leader is accountable to Parliament and can be replaced." Angus further highlighted the differences in political culture between the two nations, asserting, "Convicted sexual abusers don't get to lead our nation. We're decent folk." His comments reflect a firm stance against any threats to Canada's independence and a commitment to upholding the nation's democratic principles. In the days following Trump's latest remarks, a surge of patriotism swept through Canada. Citizens began displaying the Canadian flag more prominently, with many taking to social media to emphasize their national identity. According to historians, this event marked one of the strongest displays of Canadian unity in recent memory, reinforcing the country's commitment to standing apart from its southern neighbor. Can you do us a favor? Let's take a quick pause. If you've enjoyed the video so far, could we ask for a small favor? Hitting the like button helps us reach a broader audience, and sharing your thoughts or feedback in the comments makes an even bigger impact. Thank you for watching. Now, let's dive back in. The economic ties between the United States and Canada represent one of the most significant and mutually beneficial trade relationships in the world. The two nations share the longest international land border and maintain an interconnected economy supported by a robust trade framework. According to the Office of the United States Trade Representative, USTR, total bilateral trade in goods and services between the two countries reached approximately $1.2 trillion in 2024. Breaking it down further, US exports to Canada totaled $49.49 billion, resulting in a US goods trade deficit of $3.3 billion with Canada. However, this trade deficit is largely driven by energy imports, which are essential for the US economy. Canada is the largest export market for the United States, absorbing nearly 18% of total US global exports in 2024. Meanwhile, the US is the destination for roughly 75% of Canada's total exports, underscoring the deep economic integration between the two countries. Unlike other US trade relationships, which often include high levels of imports from China or Mexico, US-Canada trade is more balanced and reciprocal, with both countries serving as each other's largest trading partners. The integration of North American markets has been strengthened by the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, which replaced NAFTA in 2020. The USMCA has facilitated smoother trade, ensured greater protections for industries such as auto manufacturing and dairy, and solidified energy trade regulations. Over 2 million US jobs depend on trade with Canada, making this economic relationship indispensable to the American workforce. Trade between the United States and Canada covers a broad range of industries, reflecting the highly diversified nature of the relationship. Some of the most significant sectors include energy, automotive, agriculture, metals and minerals, machinery, and technology. One of the most crucial aspects of US-Canada trade is energy, with Canada being the largest foreign supplier of crude, oil, natural gas, and electricity to the United States. In 2024, energy exports from Canada to the US were valued at approximately $180 billion, representing nearly 44% of total US energy imports. Canada supplies over 50% of all crude oil imported by the United States. US refiners, particularly in the Midwest, are highly dependent on Canadian oil, as their infrastructure is designed specifically for Canadian heavy crude. Canada is also the largest supplier of electricity to the US, providing significant cross-border power flows to states such as New York, Michigan, and Minnesota. Without Canadian energy imports, the United States would face significant energy shortages and price spikes, as alternative suppliers such as the Middle East or Venezuela would be unable to fill the gap efficiently. Experts predict that any major disruption in US-Canada energy trade could raise gasoline prices by as much as 30% and lead to economic instability in the North American energy sector. The automotive sector is another pillar of US-Canada trade, with auto parts and vehicle. Assembly deeply intertwined across the border. More than 75% of Canadian-built vehicles are exported to the United States, and approximately 60% of US-manufactured auto parts are shipped to Canadian factories for final assembly. The US and Canadian automotive industries function as a single unit. A single auto part can cross the US-Canada border up to 6 times before a vehicle is fully assembled. The Detroit-Windsor corridor is one of the most active automotive trade routes in the world, facilitating the movement of over 2.3 million vehicles per year.